Well, hello there and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Zieger. I'll be your host today and I'm super excited because I have an amazing guest. It's the third time today he's back. Welcome, David Oku.
Hello, Julia. Nice
Hi.
to be back.
Yeah, the chat is already, he's like, oh, he's a regular. Yes. But it's good because you're awesome and your work is awesome. But before we get started, a little hint for all the people on YouTube, you can come over to behance.net/live because there's where the cool, amazing people in the chat are and you can talk with us and ask questions. So, David.
Yes.
Maybe we can take a look at the background of your computer. You have a brand new Mac with the M1 chip, so this is going to be smooth today. And David just did that yesterday, just, for posting on social media. And I'm like, how long did that take you to make this illustration? It's like, oh, no time. If it's your own style, you can do it in no time. Trust me. So I do trust you, and I'm really looking forward to what you're going to show us today. This is amazing.
Thank you. So, Julia, I will start maybe for who have never seen my work.
Yes.
I'll just share.
Those who've seen it don't mind because it's so cool, and those who haven't never seen it before, they will love it. So let's go for it. So
this is just some animation. As everybody knows, I'm very heavy on digital illustration, but I'm moving a little bit to animation at the moment, and I literally do a lot of fun stuff. But mainly everything that can be very visual, freehand typography. As you can see here, some other animation, but I'm mainly known for this kind of very bright, acidic kind of style. But mainly everything I do is heavy on digital illustration, I would say.
Love the shirts.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh man, it's just amazing.
And literally, you can do any kind of thing if you're an illustration fan, but I really love to explore it, the depth of illustration, because I think illustration can be very flat, but the more you work in it with it, you want to actually expand and bring it to new boundaries, if you can say so. And here's just a few, but then I will show you here some images.
It's just amazing. People in the chat wow, so cool, his work is amazing, says Kirsty. And Sandrine says, David's animation always lighten up my Instagram feed.
Thank you.
She knows it's you because you have such a distinctive style when she sees your work.
So lately I've been working more with, you can see here, a bit more pixelated, psychedelic kind of feel. So as you can see, mainly what I use, as I was telling you earlier, I use a lot of heavy shapes, like geometry shapes. I just use repeated pattern and I try to create something just a bit different because I think I don't really like to follow the lines of just start and see where it leads you. That's how I approach every project I have. So you can see here as well.
Wow.
I like to fill in the gaps.
It's just so cool. Oh my God. Love Bart. It's mind-blowing.
Thank you.
How, this one, for example, how long did it take you to make that?
I mean, depending on, I will always say, if you look at the composition itself, just the, let's say this one is always repeated on two sides, the central part
it's mirrored,
will be more unique, but some of the elements are repeated. So I'll be very honest, it can take you from a day, it can take you 3 days, it can take you 4 days. Depends more about how much elements you want to put into it and how many actually textures you want to put into it. Because you see, I try to always have a flat surface, but where I can, I like to give some shadows, some lightning, as you can see. So it gives that kind of, even if it's not 3D, it kind of gives that three-dimensional feel to a flat image. I just think that when you put that extra lighting and shadow, it pops out a little bit more, especially from who is looking at it. And you can see even here, this other example is flat, but you see you always have some kind of pattern texture, paper texture overlaid on the image. So it just gives you a different feel. It can feel old and nostalgic. It can be very bold, bright, flashy. So I like to just explore. And as you can see, even this one, you will have always a main figure and everything around it will be either double-sided, like almost like a mirroring effect, but you can literally, you just go crazy.
Wow,
I
that's
find like
amazing.
when you start, you can end up working for a week and you can always add something in and it will always look good, you know?
Right. Is that like covers of books?
This one at the moment, this one I'm more working on faces at the moment. I know you saw a barcode, but my idea lately was more doing illustration that look like an album cover or
Gotcha.
having an NFT face or things like that, because I'm exploring the different worlds. Then I did some labels for cider bottles.
I saw that there's some soda bottles behind you in the shelf, right?
Yeah. I don't drink them, but I hold them for memory, you know.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
good to have the final product on your shelf, I will always say. And
yeah, that's very special.
Then few stuff like this, always talking about NFT. This was some
that's fun.
scratch out projects for the New York Times, for example. But then they went a different direction. We did something a little bit more simple. So depending on the client, literally, it can be very simple. It can be heavy, complex. But what I like doing is more like a maximalist style. So I prefer to fill up the gaps because it leads your eye to look in different directions. Then you have things like this. And I don't know, I have a passion for typography as well. So I like to work on both aspects, because if you just do illustration, it's still illustration, but I think to play with typography is important, because you know you can have campaigns, you can have a poster that you want to do. So it's always a good way to explore your style somehow. You know? And
Sandrine says you're at war with negative space.
You see things like this as well. It's very simple if you look at it, because it's just straight lines. But as you can see, as soon as you put some extra pattern, some shadows,
it really pops.
It just pops a little bit more, and it gives you a feel almost like you're feeling what is forward, what is backwards. So that's mainly what I do. Then I did something like this for Native Instrument. I don't know if you know, they do like some music kits for producers. So they have it on the website. And yeah, this is more like a collage, and it's still something that I like a lot. I used to do it a lot back in the days, but
did you also take the picture?
The picture is a friend of mine, a photographer, and he said, David, let's do a collaboration. Let's try to do something, because I'm very heavy on, I believe in collaboration, because, you know, a lot of artists work for themselves, or maybe they're more like into their own mindset. But I think when you start collaborating with other artists, your mind expand, not only you, but even the person you're working with. So it elevates both. I did a few things like, I don't know, going back to type again. You see,
Google.
I'm always on Google, so I thought it was good to actually show the connection as well. So sometimes I also do illustration just for the fun of, I'm using this a lot, let me do something out of it, let me tell a story by myself.
Yeah.
And so here is some illustration. Then this year I spent a lot of time doing some tees, hoodies, some graphics.
So is there a place where you could get these?
I mean, for the moment, a few of them are still not online at the moment. I'm just showing what I did, but for sure this you can find. This is on Print Social, and I just did this recently, and this mainly like the 100% of the profit will go to Young Minds UK, because I'm always interested is elevating the younger generation, and they help the mental health for the young people.
Yeah,
because I think that they are our next generation, so it's good to do something for them. Then I don't know, I just love t-shirt. I love a lot of urban clothing. hats and things like that.
So cool.
And
There's actually already a question in the chat.
please.
Sandrine would like to know, when I feel more confident, I think I'd like to explore collaborations as well. So not sure how to plan that though. Maybe David has some advice.
Can I be honest? I think like I'm good with colors, but a lot of people struggle with color. Is a common question I hear from a lot of people. How do you select your colors? I think there's literally no rule. I think it's just about what you want, how you want the illustration to feel like. So like, at example, this was an exhibition. You see, this is very vibrant, gradient, very punchy. The fact that it's so punchy will always capture your eye. But you see at the back, this illustration, at example, had less punchy color. It's more pastely.
I got you. No, her question was about collaboration. I'm sorry.
Oh, pardon, I understand color. Sorry.
I'm sorry. It was me mumbling.
I think, I don't know, you should just approach people. And, you'll be surprised how many great artists are willing to actually work with people one-on-one. Am I responding the right way, Julia, by the way?
Yes. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Because I did some, sorry, because I just went confused. Like I did personally I do collaboration with a lot of people that I find interesting. I will just drop them a message and they will come back to me saying like, yo, David, I really love your work. I would love to do something. I just say, let's do it. Because at the end of the day, you learn from each other. It's not only a one way around. A lot of people think I'm good, but I don't personally see myself like that because I know how long it took me to get there. And that's why I like to collaborate with people, because I was in that stage as well. Almost like, but sometimes you feel intimidated because you think, wow, the guy he has years of experience, he will never reply. But it's not true. If you talk to artists, you shouldn't be scared. Some people will say no, but you will always find people actually doing something just for the fun of it. Like I will show you here. This is like a collaboration with one of my favorites. This is Matt Voice, and I'm pretty sure you know him. He did a lot of things with you guys, Adobe, and he do a lot of typography, animation. And I've always said, wow, this guy is the king of making typography. And
yeah, that's awesome.
We literally came together. He liked my work. I love his work. We started chatting and it just came out very naturally. And Matt for me, is a huge artist, but when I start talking to him, it's not about the numbers. It's about, wow, let's do something. Because I don't know, you shouldn't
inspire each other.
Exactly. You shouldn't be afraid of asking. So I will just show you the animation, and then I think we can try to see some process as well. So this year I did again the 26 days of type. And I think for everyone out there as well, that's a good way to actually get inspired by other artists, but also to test and experiment anything you have on your mind. There's no rules. So this year, this is what I came out with. And it's literally, you can see everything has different shapes. It's just testing anything and see where you go with it.
Wow. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Wow. Holy. Oh my God, there's so much going on there. It's just so cool.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. You see even this one. You hear the sound, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'll just put it quickly. This is a collaboration I did with another guy that he's at the moment exploring sound design. So he approached me, was like, David, look, you have animation, but I think there's something missing. I think if you put sound, it will just come to another level. And I said, you know what? Let's give it a go. And this is what came out.
I was just there in the beginning and now it's gone again.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah, seems like you're sound adjusting and then it's just dropping again.
No worries then. I'll leave it anyway. You can see that on Instagram, I think.
Yes.
And yeah, that's pretty much me. So
it's amazing. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Just the body of work that you already did is, and every single piece of it is already a masterpiece in my head. It's just so
Thank
cool.
you.
So yeah, the last times you've been here, you did a class on color, and you also did one on illustration, on animation, right?
Yeah.
And today you said you're going to be freestyling.
Yeah, it's just to maybe show like doesn't matter drawing or no drawing. I think Adobe Illustrator, from when I started using it, it just changed my life because I'm a traditional artist, but I think
Okay.
I started freehand, and I think Adobe Illustrator, if you can learn it, is the best kind of application to actually explore illustration because it
I
simplifies
agree.
a lot of things. So Julia, I will just get started and start seeing what comes out.
This is exciting.
So as the first thing, normally I mainly work on RGB, is because I always try to have very bright colors when I'm online. And then when I print something, then I will always retouch the colors, obviously, because the color will die out a little bit.
Okay.
Let's do like this. So what I will start normally doing is select my colors.
Well, you're really just freestyling it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh.
There we go.
So normally what I will start is select my colors. So from the very beginning, I might not use all of them because obviously depending on if you want to make a print, screen print, color can be a different story. Like the more you print, the more it costs. So
right.
depending on what you want to do, it's always best. And second thing I will do is always give the stroke that I prefer, because I work a lot with outlines. So it's always best to have them already set from the beginning, and then maybe put the colors here on the side. And then, yeah, let's start freestyling.
Michelle just said, I like the way David is picking his colors. So your color swatches over there, they already have an outline. So when you're color picking, you take both the stroke and the fill.
Or even if you want, you can just move them here and take off the outline if you want. Depends on artists. Some artists like outline, some people don't.
I think with the eyedropper tool, I think it's either Option or Shift. I'm not sure. It's not in my muscle memory. You can also just color pick one of them.
Yeah.
Just to stroke or just to fill.
If you wanted to, you can either select any color you have.
Right.
Or you can literally just say like, let's take this gray, then I will throw in a red stroke. Let's put some more. You see, so depending on what you want to do, it's very easy. You can even insert the image if you like the colors of the image and then pick out the colors from it. So I like doing faces. So I will try to do some faces today.
Oh, cool. Sandrine's asking, do you ever use reference?
Never, because I mean, with clients might be a case that sometimes they ask you something very specific. So if you've never drawn it or you don't have an idea what they're talking about, you need a reference. Right. But I try to stay far from reference because I think me personally, I prefer to go from my mind, because when you have a reference, then you might stick too much to that reference. And when you don't have it, you just let your mind wander a lot. Here we go, my favorite tool, Pathfinder.
Boom, shadow. That was cool.
Yeah. And you remember I was saying it's super easy because it's literally cutting out from shapes.
I have to take a really close look at what you're doing because you're so fast.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. That's awesome. You're so fast. Now I know how you could do that overnight.
Yeah.
That huge illustration there.
But don't look at me, I'll be honest. Nobody looks at me. I mean, it's just like the more you do it, the quicker you get, I think.
Option drag. Oh, cool.
And you see the alignment tool helps me a lot as well.
Yeah, and you got all the most important panels for yourself that you're using. They're all open, right?
Yeah, this
Pathfinder.
I will say this for me, like the stroke. I say all of them. All of the one open at the moment are my the top one I always use. Like the only thing will be different. Like I will use maybe the layer windows when I come to animation or like working on multiple. How do you call it? Like a collage kind of feel. So like images with vector graphics. There we go.
Shape builder tool.
That's another good one, especially if you're doing like some typography with the grid.
Yeah. And you said to me earlier, you know, if you watch me work, you don't see, you're using a lot of shortcuts.
So for me, it's mainly like Command C, Command F. So it's like copy, copy in front, copy in the back. And I think those are the main three that I use because everything else is literally just the align tool and the pathfinder. So I'll make you a quick example. So you will have this circle. Then you will have, I will show you actually this one that's more interesting. If you press the Alt and Shift, you copy it, and you can just literally press Command D, and it literally repeats it. Here you can cut it out. You can just take these segments as example. Command X, you cut them out. You copy them in front again. Command J, you group them. So I think the shortcuts are literally just those few group. Copy front, copy back, Command D, and then the Alt and Shift, if it makes sense. Because I think, and here you see, you can always put again a stroke, then expand it, and now you will have, you can put some extra colors on this.
Nice. Select similar might be also of interest for you, right? Do you use that too?
Say it again?
Select similar?
No, I don't select it similar. I do one by one because let's say, sorry, I will just show you. So these are the three circles. I cut them out with the pathfinder. Then I take both of them, Command X, Command F. And then I just put some stroke on it to make it a little bit thicker. So it goes out a bit. And then I go here and just expand it straight away. And you can see now when it's expanded, you have the full, the fill color, and the stroke now is a full, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, while I do it, I mean, now I said a few of my tricks, but I think while I do it, you will understand why this is so important and why it might speed up your work as well.
Right.
So,
Sarah says, good looking eye.
Thank you very much.
Nice. I hope we have some, I can't hear it, but I hope we have some funky music playing while you do that.
Not really, just to stay focused, because otherwise
oh, really?
I will not. Normally I use music, but when I talk with someone, I rather put it off, because sometimes I might be, my mind might be too much in the music, you know. But yeah, music definitely gives you that extra bit to good company always.
Do you sometimes use graphic styles too, when like your swatches, when you put your swatches over there, would you also use them as graphic styles?
Sorry, what do you mean when you say graphic styles?
Well, the Illustrator has this graphic style panel where you can say like the orange circle with the orange fill and the stroke becomes a graphic style. You can save that, and then you can click on other things, apply that graphic style, and then it's like a global thing. So I can go back into that graphic style, change it, and all the things change across my artboard.
I mean, I've never used it personally, but let's say, for example, when I use swatches, I do my patterns. And I do the filling with the patterns, as example, or I use a lot the brush tool. So it's almost like the brush tool, I would say I use it the most, because I think I do all this little pattern by myself because I got quick with it. So it's not really, but let's say this as example. Look. I like doing this a lot because.
Right. Yeah, that can save you a ton of time, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. You can do so many things with it.
Because you can come with some incredible shapes. Because don't get me wrong, I think the fill is something that I don't look too much. It's more like the brush, because as example, I'm very sharp when it comes to my illustration. But let's say you wanted something a bit more spiky around the eye. I will literally go for some things like this.
Nice.
You see, Pathfinder as usual, always best friend.
Oh, I love it. So awesome.
Let's copy this. And I'll make kind of like this little. So another of my favorite is the zigzag.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because I think when it comes to when you want to create like clothing patterns or things like that, it really helps a lot because you have the smooth
organic things.
Yeah, or you can have sharp edges. So let's put some in. So I'll group this.
Nice. Awesome.
Thanks.
So you obviously have like an arsenal of shapes and ideas already in your head, right? Like things that repeat in your work. Is that something that came up over the time, like days when you're experimenting, you find a new shape and like this is cool, now it's part of your vocabulary, and then pops up in new illustrations.
You know what? It's literally the Pathfinder. When I started playing around with the Pathfinder, I don't know, I was so much in shock how many things you can do. Because it's
Yeah.
literally, a lot of people think like, wow, it's very complex. But the reality is just give it a try, play with it. And the more you do, I'm still learning every day on Illustrator. And I'm doing
Oh,
it
cool.
for many, many years.
Yeah.
There's still things I'm discovering just by simple mistakes. So what I would say is more like, just try, like put in anything. Nothing is crazy for Illustrator.
I think that's a good advice. Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And Stuart's in the chat. He says, "Hi everyone, always a fan of Oku's work." Sarah says, "Cool design. I like that too. The feathers, they're really nice."
So let's do this. I'll show you. Okay, now that it's ready, we group it. We bring it back here.
Ooh, okay.
Hard brush. So let me take this eye off, so at least later. So if now we make, as example, a circle, we can take the pencil tool, the eraser, take this off. And now.
Nice. Oh, wow.
But you see, it's very, I mean, that's why I said it's very simple.
This is amazing.
But it makes a lot of difference, you see, because when you put like a little, you can always refix the stroke afterwards, but
right.
You can have it either super spiky with a little circle, or you can change it a little bit wider. So you
Doctor Who says, "I wasn't expecting that." Yeah, me neither. This is awesome.
But you see, so it's literally, I don't know, it really depends what you're doing. You can always get away with a lot of things in Illustrator. You just need to give it a test, because that's how I learned personally.
Like a playground. Jackie says, "That's so cool." Yeah. Stuart says, "Simple and very cool." Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then you see, you can have something like this that is already like some tribal psychedelic.
Love it. Yeah.
So now we're gonna go for the nose, and in the May, while we do it, I'll show you some extra thing.
I actually think we have to expand this lesson today. Do you have more time?
I have some time.
Stuart says, "Play, just keep playing."
So you see, from a little circle to 3 circles, you see?
Yeah.
That's something is already looking like a nose.
It does. And are you using mouse, trackpad, or tablet?
At the moment, right now with you, I'm using a mouse, but I have my trackpad. So let's say like when I'm still an old school guy. So funny enough, I use my trackpad when I want something more organic that looks more like my freestyle hand drawing. And when I use digital, because it's very sharp, I don't really need it. I have more control with the mouse with basic stuff. But when I want more like intricate details or more organic shape, definitely the trackpad is much better. Sorry, I have a Wacom, not even a trackpad.
Yeah.
And then you see, I always kind of, every time I have a shape, I try to put in like some little shadow inside it. So I do some random shape just to recreate that kind of feel. And same thing for this one. Just copy, select it, and cut it out with the Pathfinder. Then I put in like a black fill.
Nice.
So you
something
see
sneaked in there, a little black piece sneaked in there.
Yeah. So it always happened for some reason. And then I just put in the other, you see, gone again.
Yeah.
That is something actually I've never understand why it happens so often.
Nice.
Maybe, sorry, might remove.
So you already expanded that?
No, they're not expanded, but they're like when you when you put in the brush, it still have outlines, as you can see. So you have the stroke, but they are more like a group. So it's good because every time you just click into it, you can go and select whatever you want.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That's why it's great to have the brushes, because it doesn't really expand the outline with it and the color fill. It just kind of create a group and keep it all together in one place. Okay, let's go.
Awesome.
And same thing here. I'll just do some shape that recognize that more or less like a nose, kind of. I always use the Pathfinder for this. That's why I said it's my favorite tool, because you can usually use like some little shapes, duplicate it, and create like still some very organic, curvy lines.
So you're already super fast, so I don't think you need advice. Do you sometimes use your own make your own shortcuts? You make your own keyboard shortcut where you say this is...
Not really, because you know, it's funny because a lot of people do that, but it's just I started with very basic information and I just work on those basics so much. I think the shortcuts, like, I mean, really, like, you can have shortcuts, and I recommend it to people, especially with the new keyboards, that you can actually assign your own personal shortcuts and make the work much more quicker. But it really depends from how you work. If you find that you are slow in producing, I would recommend it to you. But if you're comfortable with the basic, you should stick to them. I mean, it doesn't really make a huge difference for me. I'm just very used to the, I don't know, the basic shortcuts, you know?
Yeah.
I know it sounds very funny. We should move forward from that, but I'm still doing that always.
I like that. Sarah says, I love what you're making. And Stuart says, David's illustrations are awesome. When they get animated, it just takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
Do you always have that in mind before you do an illustration, that you're gonna animate it? Is it part of your workflow?
Not always, because sometimes I just do I'm mainly an illustrator, I would say. So I love doing illustration in general. But then sometimes, you know, I look at the work, I say like, wow, it doesn't really excite me. So I said, you know what, let's divide it in layers. Because you see, when you work like this, even if this is a group, you can always go back in the eye and separate whatever you want and put it on a different layer. So I think it's not always like this, but when I want to do animation, I can even go back to one of my works and just separate the layers and start on After Effects. So it's very...
Just some preparation involved for preparing it for After Effects or whatever you're using.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, the good thing of, I think, Illustrator and After Effects is like wedding done in heaven. So they work perfectly together. And it's just like, I don't know, it's so like comfortable. Like when you know both programs, it's very easy to do a lot of things with the two programs.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in that, one of David's streams with Tony was his animation in After Effects. It was really nice. So I've seen you reflecting things, you know, that you always go there and click on the reflect tool. You can just click O and enter, I believe, and reflect that thing.
Say it again. How again? Sorry, let's try it.
So O is the reflect tool, O. And then you just click somewhere and choose the center point. It's the center of the object already. And when you hold option, you create a copy of that.
Okay. Interesting, actually.
Will make you even faster.
I know, Julia, but I'm always stuck with my old habits, you know. Like if you tell me now, I will then tomorrow do it again, you know.
It's interesting how many people say that.
Yeah, but because I think like I don't know, it's a workflow when you use a lot of programs, you get that habit of always using similar commands, and when you have some new input like this, you just lose it on the way because you don't use it as often. So I know I should learn.
But I love that you say, I mean, even, you know, with the amount of knowledge that you already have, you say you're still learning Illustrator every day. That's super cool. Daryl's in the chat. He says, hi all, great to see David on Adobe Live. And we talked about it a little bit before the stream. David's going to be a daddy soon. So this is great news. And we already talked about how cool it would be if he could paint the room of his son with all these cool illustrations.
I would definitely do that. Like, at least it gets inspired immediately, you know?
Yeah. It's pretty cool that you use solid black for the shadows. It's a really nice effect. Good style.
You can also fade it if you wanted to. Like sometimes in some of my illustration, I do like, let me show it.
Yeah.
If you want to give it that kind of.
And do you ever use with blend modes, like multiplying things or soft light or, yeah?
A lot. And especially with the work with gradients.
Yeah, cool.
So like this, it will give you like, especially when you use more realistic kind of illustration, that's quite nice because you can do like some very nice gradients. But yeah.
It's awesome how it's immediately changing the style of the illustration.
Say it again, sorry.
I said it's amazing how it changes immediately, the style of the illustration changes immediately. So I haven't seen you use the appearance panel since you started at all. Did you ever use that?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Do you ever use the appearance panel in Illustrator?
Not really. Not really.
Really? That's awesome.
I work very differently. I feel bad sometimes.
No, don't. Yes. No, there is no wrong. That's the most important thing to know. So Sandrine says, I would love to see how David's using textures, but I guess that will come later.
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit. Because texture, I use a lot the, you know, the little patterns that comes in the swatches. So like the line, the texture, the dots. Yeah, that I use a lot. But then sometimes I also take my illustration and bring it into Photoshop and then find some nice picture or maybe scan in some used papers and just like put it like an overlay on top of my designs.
Yeah.
That's the easy way to actually create some grain on the image to not keep it too flat.
Right.
Okay, so this is another tool that I often use. So I will normally use like some lines the blend tool.
Yeah.
So I'll do some thick strokes on this one. And blend. Maybe not. Sorry, give me a second only. Did a mistake there.
Are you making a moustache?
Exactly.
Oh, cool. Nice. I like that.
And you see, you can literally, it's a very cool shortcut to actually do something like this if you wanted to make like some hair textures or like anything, like can be like fur. Then I will expand it, put some more thickness till it's full up.
Nice.
And you see, you have your super nice and neat mustache.
That looks awesome. Yes. Dara says this has such a Balinese face mask feel to it. That's cool. And Sandrine says, I always do all my textures things directly in Illustrator and see that everyone uses Photoshop for this.
Yeah. It's good to do it in Illustrator because I think it gives you a different feel, especially if like is more digital graphic looking like, rather when you have like Photoshop. I don't know, it changes a little bit. It gives more dimension, but I mean, it looks more, it used the original texture of something that exists. Rather when you do it from Illustrator, it's just, yeah, you made it. I don't know, I find it cooler to do things on Illustrator, but definitely is Photoshop is a shortcut to put extra grain on it because you can literally cut out, overlay things and makes it much more easier.
Yeah. Sandrine says she uses organic raster textures in Illustrator. I don't think there's anything wrong with that since you have the same blend modes here. And what you also can do is bring over bitmap files and color them, which is even cooler in Illustrator. Nice. It looks really cool. That should be one of those face filters that you can put on social media.
Actually, I looked, I'm doing a lot of AR. So
yeah.
It's nice actually. Like things like this can be very cool when you bring it into the Facebook filters. You can have a mask animating and you have the holes for your eyes. So
oh, that is cool. Yeah. You could wear that during the stream.
Yeah. And as you can see, for now, I've only used shape, so it's not really going crazy on the details. It's like whatever comes out with the shape, more or less, you know, works.
This looks awesome. So what do you enjoy more, having a sketch that you did on paper, bringing it in and then just working from there? Or do you like it more to go like freestyle like you're doing now?
It depends from periods, you know, like, because I think, an example, last year, in 2021, I participated to the IWS, the Illustration Work Series. And instead of going digital, I went classic, so freehand.
Ah,
And I don't know, you get bored sometimes because, you know, when you do a lot of digital, I feel like you disconnect yourself from your real craft, because at the end,
right.
everybody can do something digital, but the freehand is something very personal to you. So I think you shouldn't let it just behind you. You should always test yourself. And I went for that competition just to actually do freehand stuff, you know.
Nice. So
Really
I think I saw on your website that you were using like markers. So when you
markers.
say you're traditional, do you also do like, I don't know, acrylics or oil? What do you do?
I mean, anything, because I'm not a big fan of painting itself myself, but I've done some paintings. Lately, like I'm doing a lot of graffiti, as example, with spray cans and
Ah,
stuff like that. So when I say traditional, it's like can be anything, can be pencil, can be pen, can be a spray can, but not using technology, just using something that is in your hand. That's
mm,
how I see traditional. But I think it's important because, you know, I always love drawing. So to do everything digital, you know, it's always, if my computer don't work, I still know how to make something
right.
happen, you know. So do you draw yourself? You said, yeah.
I do. Yes, I do.
You do oil?
I do charcoal a lot. That's what I like
Okay.
most when I'm not on the computer.
But you
And
see,
and
I
I
love it. Contrast a lot, I think.
I agree that there is a certain element of texture missing when you're working digital. Not just on texture, talking about texture in the image, but for you and the sensory realm, you know, feeling
Yeah.
it,
So
getting dirty and
it's true. It's something, I don't know, you feel like you're becoming a kid again when you're doing things
yeah,
by hand. You get dirty, you touch it, you feel it.
right.
You feel more the pain of your back when you get older like me.
Yes, in the shoulders when you're holding your hand up all the time. I also find that it's easier for me to be in the here and now when I'm not working digitally. Like the
Yeah.
screen is sucking me in, and then hours later you wake up, you're like, oh no, where has the time gone? Well, like on paper, it's like you're there all the time. At least
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
But you
Speaking
know,
about being there is an event coming up next week, and it's called Creativity for Future or Future for Creativity. I'm not sure. And it's free to register for everybody who is in London, Paris, or Berlin next week. Monday will be London, Tuesday will be Paris, and Wednesday going to be in Berlin. So if you're in the area, up there in the chat box is a little link that says register now, so you can go there. It's an in-person event from Adobe, so you can go there and just have fun with the guys. Yeah, Tim posted the link in the chat. You can sign up there. That's the London event link. So when you started making your swatches in the beginning, you basically applied all of them somewhere in the illustration, right? They're all
yeah,
somewhere.
like, yeah,
So
everything.
from now on, you're just actually color picking from your
Yeah, I
picture
might
there.
still change it a little bit because you can see like I didn't use the pink as example.
Mm-hmm.
I have the blacks, the white are in, but then from each of this color, I might go again over it, maybe putting some lights. For example, using like an overlay. Let's say we use a white as example. You go here, give an overlay, and then bringing it down a little bit. It's just to kind of
Ah,
like
nice.
a reflection or something on it. I like to use solid, but you can also do it as example by putting a, so let's see, if you put a blur on it,
Right.
might be better because you see you lose kind of that sharp edge
That's nice.
a bit more.
Looks really smooth.
You see, so you will still have it a little bit, but then depends how much contrast you want it to be. Do that later.
Makes almost sense to watch this again in time lapse.
Yeah. I should do more time lapse, but you know, takes up a lot of memory sometimes, especially if it's a big project.
Well, you can do that now. You have your M1. You're good to go.
Yeah. You'll be surprised. I did one 2 weeks ago, I think, for a big project. Every file was like 3 gig plus. It's a lot.
Yeah.
My old computer had problem with memory. So every time now I see heavy files like that, I try to avoid it just to not slow down the system in general.
How did the files get so big? Did you have so many vectors in there, or was it texture?
I think it's the timing. Is the timing of the time lapse, because what I did was very heavy, a lot of details. So it might take you like every shot, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours shot. You know, so it becomes heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so we got the ears in.
You still have 5 minutes, by the way.
Only 5.
Right.
Wow. Let's try.
Time flew by, but this is awesome. I just love this. By the way, tomorrow we have as a guest, Raquel Costa is going to be here again with Tony, which is awesome. I think she's been here already like 3 times too, if I'm correct. It actually reminds me of some masks that I saw in a museum in Detroit. Do you ever go to museums and get some inspiration for your work? Or like, wow, this is old folklore mask or something?
It's all from my mind. I grew up in Nigeria. So for us as a culture, you know, you have a lot of tribal iconography.
Right.
You have a lot of indigenous masks from the different tribes. So, I mean, I think traveling helped me a lot to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the museum, no, but the traveling actually, culture, the patterns, the clothing and everything kind of influenced me since a kid. And I think it will stick with me.
Viola says, yay, Nigeria.
Hey. Because if you come to Nigeria, you will understand what I mean. Like when you go to a party, see the clothes, you have patterns.
Colorful, yeah.
Colors, everything is so vibrant. So it's amazing. I think definitely traveling, especially when you go holidays and you come back and you start drawing, you always pick up something just by looking at different cultures, you know?
Sandrina posted the link to your Instagram in the chat. Thank you, Sandrine. Well, it's pretty cool what you got done in like, we were talking for about 10 minutes. So let's say 40 minutes, maybe. That's pretty awesome. So how much longer does it take when you add like shading to that whole illustration with maybe?
Much, I'll be honest, you know, now we're speaking, so I have my mind speaking and the work. But normally if it's just me, in 40 minutes can even be done. So it's more about, I don't know, when you focus, you just go and times just go by quick.
Yeah.
But then, as I said, it always depends. Like the more complex it is, it might take a little bit longer. So.
So it says Doku art is totally worth a follow. David shares some amazing artists on his stories as well as his own feed.
You have to. There are too many talented people.
Yeah.
So like, there's so much talent out there. That's why, you know, when I see something cool, I have to share it. Because a lot of people are so talented, but they're still like, nobody knows them. So it's good to be a platform and promote others, you know.
Ah, nice. Jackie says, I love how David just sees shapes. That's right. Everything is just geometrical and basic, and it's really nice.
That's where when I draw, like an example freehand, it changes a lot. So a lot of time you will still see it's me as a style, but you will definitely tell I can see the difference from freehand, because my freehand is literally like a lot of texture done by hand, a lot of little details, a lot of more curvy line. And I do a lot of people, for some reason, always in the profile side.
Do you share your traditional art somewhere too?
If you scroll down all the way down my Instagram, you will definitely see something for, let's see. Oops. Oh, yeah.
Is that your sketchbook you have in there?
Yeah, but it's just to show you, like, this is one of the books that I printed.
Oh, nice.
But you can see this, as example, is like some illustration that I first took freehand. And you see how organic it is. It's very curvy, it's not so sharp.
Yeah, very different style.
So you see this, oh, sorry. You see this one is just full of lines, organic shape.
Oh,
but
that's beautiful.
Draw first hand, freehand. So I don't know, it feels there's so much more when you do freehand first and then make it digital.
Right.
But obviously it takes much more time because you have too many details. That's why I would recommend, I would say like my digital kind of style is much more easier than my freehand, I would say.
Well, it's both beautiful. Anyway, David, I hate to cut you off, but it's 1 o'clock already.
No,
I don't want to, but I have to.
That's fine. I hope you all had an amazing time. And
this was fantastic. It's just awesome to see you jamming. I think we could have that every day, just have 1 hour with you just watching your work. So this is fantastic. Yeah, Stuart says awesome. I love it. Oliver says, thanks, David. And Julia Doris says, thank you, David. You have a great stream. Jackie said, thank you so much for stopping me working for an hour. You're welcome. Now you can go back. Now you know how to do it. Now you're inspired. Yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. The chat loves you. Thanks for the great stream. And of course, we hope to have you back. This is not going to be last time. Next time he says this into After Effects, says Stuart.
For sure, yeah.
That's a great idea. Well, thank you so much, David. Do you have anything to share?
No, I mean, just go crazy on everything. I think don't be scared of Illustrator or After Effects. I think just start doing it, test it every day, play with it every day. And even by doing mistakes, you will learn something out of it.
Perfect. That's great advice. I think that wraps it up perfectly. Just play with it, have fun with it, explore it. And like you said in the beginning, take collaborations, just ask people, don't be shy.
Yeah, that's very important, actually.
Yeah.
So
the only thing that can happen is that they say no, that's not bad.
Not a good problem, you know.
All right. Thank you so much, David. All of you have a wonderful day. Maybe see you tomorrow with Raquel Costa. And hopefully you're going to be able to go to one of the events that we just shared with you. The link, as we said, is in the chat. So maybe see you there. Have a good day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.